Hey, welcome back in. Tony talking trash about music. And today I am going to be doing a solo John here as I wrap up my Steely Dan analysis that we started a while ago. Let's talk about my favorite 20 greatest Steely Dan tracks. And with that, I'm talking about Becker and Fagan. You know the drill. You've been through it all. You know about them. You know about their the main body work that they had for a while. They had the band, then they had the touring band. Then they dropped the touring band and went into Studio Freaks and all the the rumors of the multi takes and the mode for perfection. It was really achieved on some of their great records. Asian Gauchos sound fabulous and they're really great. Then they came back after a while with Everything Must Go. I guess was their last record. Two Against Nature was the one that they came back. And Walter Becker expired. And since then, I guess it's been Mr. Fagan here largely taking up the slack of what's happening. But the last thing I heard about him was he objected to the term yacht rock. He doesn't like yacht rock. I'm sorry, I still got these hiccups, guys. Yacht rock, I guess he doesn't like the term yacht, maybe. He considers himself to be a little bit of a rebel or a jazz kind of dude. They don't ride around on yachts, I guess. He emphasizes Duke Ellington and that crew. I guess that's they're more of the band in they're in the ballroom with the bourgeois, but they're not the bourgeois. I got you. They get to know them, but they stay away, which is kind of a cool angle. And if you think about it from that angle, kind of puts their whole thing in and makes a lot of sense. I love them. Always will love them. And I really miss the fact. I'm glad they stopped making records. The last two to me, as I said, weren't the greatest, but hence let's start our favorite top 20 greatest tracks. And it's funny I should say that because I start with one of those new tracks, which is from the Two Against Nature, and my number 20 is going to be the single from that, which was pretty catchy, Cousin Dupree. Cousin Dupree, which is a song at least they played on the radio here a lot when it came out and promoted a lot. And it was nice, and I thought it was very good, and it's Two Against Nature, and it was the one that ended up winning everything for that. They just look at each other, perplexed, because all their great work before, consistently great work, all the way through, was just kind of not really recognized so much by the industry. I guess Asia maybe was in Gaucho. But anyway, let's go all the way back with Can't Buy a Thrill for number 19 and the magnificent guitar solo that Denny Diaz and I don't know who actually who was on this, who actually played this. But I'm talking about, I think it was Danny Diaz, but I'm talking about Rion in the Years, the great solo. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff, and regardless, they could carry it on. That was still, I guess, when they with Can't Buy a Thrill, they still had the band going. Number 18, I'm going to go up to the early years of when they kind of ended that or were in the verge of ending that Royal Scam, the Fez, of course. What a great one. You've even heard it, seen it in some of the sets that recently was even played. I know they put out a couple live records at one Northeast. You see it everywhere, but still you should get it. It's a really good record to have. I mean, if you see it around by, it's a decent live recording, and he sings fairly well and has a great background thing. Let's go to Your Gold Teeth, number 2 from Pretzel Logic. Love the track. Always love the track. Love the vocals. Just a beautiful. Just I just love it harmonically. I love the melody. I think it's great, and it's number 17 from Pretzel. The first of a few from Pretzel Logic here. Number 16. Um, the one of the tracks that's really grown on me, and probably my opinions probably shifted the most, because when this first came out, I remember in high school, whatever, this was probably my least favorite song. And just over a period of time, and I guess too, Jim Roderick's band who plays stuff played a really beautiful version of this. It was kind of very nice and laid back. wasn't really excited and rushed, and to me, that's what always makes things good. When people are in a relaxed mode, you always get that little excited thing with the drummer on the live thing. You can't help it. You hear it from even the top drummers when you go see shows. The ones that don't use click tracks, I guess, these days, huh? But anyway, it's not number 16. Number 15, Countdown to Ecstasy with Showbiz Kids. Just love it. Always loved it. Um, you know, it got a little bit of airplay. That was a song that probably was a secondary or tertiary play from that. But back where we lived here, and especially, and I guess that's why maybe Jim and those guys were always so into it, or maybe their enthusiasm rubbed off on the local, because they were always the best bands, always. I think I think it rubbed off on the local DJs, and you heard a lot of Steely Dan. They played Steely Dan on the radio around here a lot, probably a lot more in the Cumberland area or this area around here than they did nationally. I would say they were probably exposed earlier and longer. And while you're talking about that exposure, let's go to number 14. Showbiz Kids at 15. 14, Do It Again. From Can't Buy a Thrill. And that was, again, one of the beginning, the unbelievable guitar solo in that one. That is, guitar playing in this record was revolutionary. I mean, people stood up and said, wow. It's just a very imaginative good. And from that point on, I think to that extent, I believe that alone really raised in Fagan and Becker's mind, well, we can't deliver anything less than this from now on. And they really maybe had a lot of internal, you don't know the internal strife that went into maintaining, quote, the standard. Some of it true, some of it not, and some trying to decide, and melding the two visions, they seem to go more and more and more. And so, you have to know when you're really getting the best in that. Number 13, they're just absolutely gorgeous. I love the melody. I love where it's coming from. Any World from Katie Lyde. Just fantastic. That's my number 13. Just a beautiful sentiment and just a really plaintive, gorgeous way sung by Donald Fagan. Just you don't hear that sentiment in that kind of a plaintive, almost innocent begging thing. He's got a lot more of a smart ass snap a lot of times. But in that's a really loving, heartfelt expression there on 13. Any World is wonderful. Number 12, kind of the opposite of that. Just what I said, the snappy, stinging Babylon Sisters from Gaucho here. Boy, you can tell it was worked over a million times, but perfect it is. And it's just a beautiful, what it makes it undeniable is the dynamics. You hate to pick the single over the things, and a lot of times when you're overexposed on the single, the other songs don't stick out near as much. But anyway, that's it. Let's go to another great single at number 11. When I Was Young, and I'm sorry that my list is so peppered with singles, but I mean this is really kind of the story of my life. Steely Dan's one of the bands that I loved growing up. I had all the singles. And we're talking about the wonderful Ricky Don't Lose That Number. The way I liked Steely Dan was they always would have a song that had multiple parts, and the parts were not like it at all. It wasn't like someone strummed and then everybody joined in and kept the same similar chords. It was always a completely different bit of music. And in this one, when you end up on that angular dung 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 ding, that it's but you could have a change of heart. It's great. They're a great band, very, 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 very talented, great writing, great playing. Number 10, now we're starting to get into the B-side magic, man. The reason is there's a couple songs on here that are very high that other people would say, well, those are just album tracks. Well, to me, they were great because when I was young, I played them so much, and I'm talking about number 10, only a fool would say that. I just loved it. It was kind of and if you know what it is, it's a knockdown on John Lennon. I mean, he's talking about all you need is love and that sentiment, and kind of similar to Oh No, Frank Zappa, kind of similar. And it's just a beautiful put down, but in a beautiful kind of bossa nova way with a nice Latin percussion and just a beautiful song. The number nine, the classic from Real Scam, "Don't Take Me Alive." Always been one of the standout tracks for me, Steely Dan. I don't hear this one enough on the radio, but that was when they were about hitting their stride, and when you think about it, Real Scams had a lot of good stuff on it, and there was, each record as it went, you didn't even notice it. It was, there's a new Steely Dan record. It was like, we have to get it in, pretty much from the beginning. I mean, when I was 12 years old, that's kind of when those things started happening. So I started buying their records, I guess, 13 or 14, in the days of the record clubs and stuff. I mean, I had Can't Buy a Thrill and Countdown early, and then I can't remember if I got another one before I knew I had Katie Lied too. But anyway, at some point, and then I came back and got the rest of them. But anyway, that's what it is. And number 8, we're going to talk about, to me, my favorite thing on Gaucho, and that is Glamour Profession. Just a cynical, typical Donald Fagan, self-depreciating portrait of another world that I don't know anything about, truly. And it's amazing that I'd really, knowing him and knowing at least what I think I know about him, it's hard for me to believe some of these lyrics, like in the later days, how dark some of this stuff is. It was really his reality, but or maybe it was Walter's reality or part of the together. I don't know. But anyway, some of it's partly disturbing, but what a beautiful disturbance. And that's Glamour Profession, number 8. Number 7, of course, Pretzel Logic, the tour de force, and a great thing. And I remember my buddy Jim Roderick's band that plays this again. I've talked about this here in Cumberland before, but they're called Not Really Dan. Full big band and background singers, everything. Hoppin' mad great. And they do a great version of Pretzel Logic, and of course Jim just rips it to shreds. It's number 7. Number 6, we're going to stay on the same record, and another B-side that I love. Any Major Dude will tell you. I think I got it from the B-side of Ricky. I think it was on the B-side of one of those singles. But I used to play the hell out of it. It's the same. It's a great thing about when you're a kid and you get those little singles. My father used to go, and it was funny. My father played drums, course, and he played bands, and he played with a couple of these bands. And one of the guy was a DJ or connected with a DJ somewhere up in Pennsylvania, or DJ service or something. And so my father would bring me home just like a box of 45s. And they were great. They were fantastic. I mean, I didn't know there was some cool stuff in there, and I wish I still had a lot of it. But, he'd bring these back from these jobs that he had, especially, I think, once every year. I think it was about New Year's maybe or something. But he'd bring home these big boxes of records, and, man, I loved it. I listened to every single song, tried to get into all of them. And but anyway, I don't know why that reminds me of that. I don't know if that was one of them. But I did get some interesting promo copies. One of them might have been a Steely Dan song. Number 5, of course, the classic Bad Sneakers from Katie Lied. Just a, this was about the time when you knew Precaro and all those guys. It's about the time that you knew that, this was something, pretty astonishing. I mean, they had something going on here, and everybody knew it. They knew it. The whole industry knew it. And that's why they soon about this time began the exaltation of, it really happened before Asia. And I think that's the truth. And we're talking about it. Let's go with number 4. We're talking about Asia, the title track. Just a beautiful multi-movement deal and arrangement with multiple parts and, pared down parts for solos and stuff. When you think about this stuff, somebody told me, and I don't know why I'm thinking about this now, but I'll go ahead and share with you how scattered my brain is with this. Thinking about the structure of a lot of Alan Holdsworth stuff, and Alan Holdsworth used some beautiful chords, and I know his melodies were impossible to play, and this stuff was hard to play. Not the melody so much, but the scales and stuff. And it really takes a lot of practice. But it was said that he would take something, and he would take a chord structure, and then when it came time for the solo, it wouldn't be the same thing as that. It would be similar to that, but kind of a pared down version of that, which I guess wouldn't really violate that except in certain important things. And if you listen to a lot of songs like Looking Glass and things, it's the same. He does it all the time. And I think Asia is kind of like this. The arrangement of Asia is kind of like that. You have a certain motif, and then you have a shortening and a lengthening of it to fit. And it just turns out to be one gorgeous masterpiece. And anyway, that's that. Number 3, while we're getting at it, let's all enjoy ourselves in the undeniable clap along, my old school countdown to ecstasy. How can you deny it if you've ever seen them live? It's probably one of the last songs that they played. An ass kicker. And that guy, I don't know if it was Dean Edwards or somebody was playing guitar, Dean Parks or whatever the guy's name is. Fantastic. Music of your dreams, made through the magic of some people that have tried to perfect this over a lifetime. Number 2, Your Gold Teeth, the original Your Gold Teeth on Countdown to Ecstasy. Love it. It's the best one of the two. It's, to me, harmonically and lyrically kind of where they're coming from. I'm thinking which is closest to my heart, which of all these things are closest to my heart, and that's my number 2. And I'll lead you down to my final number 1, and I'm talking about, they call Alabama the Crimson Tide. They call me Deacon Blues. I don't think there's ever been, I think there's something really, really deep and special about that song that everybody can relate to. Something just about reminiscing, something wistful about it, something about second guessing yourself. And, you realize that everything all of us are doing here is we're just going through we're just going through something. And does it even make any difference? Does it matter? I mean, you get to a point when you're at your certain age, you're saying to yourself, well, what's kind of like the Peggy Lee song, that's why it was such a hit. Is that all there is? I mean, it's, in truth, it is filling the canvas up from A to B, on a timeline. But so the creation and whatever you have is kind of up to you, and it's just interesting. It's just an interesting song. That song stirs a lot of thoughts in my mind, always has. And I just love the saxophone at the end and those little da na 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 na. I mean, those little bits at the end, those little arrangements. And I mean, if you write something like that, dude, you can just forget about. You should be able to either be bestowed by God, by the government, by whatever. You should never have to work again. I mean, if you can write something that's that good and deliver it with that kind of a plaintive thing. I don't know what kind of deal was made with the devil. You kind of suspect some of it is with how uneasy he was being and cantankerous at times. But let me tell you something, man. To reach that place, I mean, that's Deacon Blues is a man on the moon type of moment, I think, as far as music and as far as communication goes. And I think it's relatable to any desperate, dying in desperation man or lady who's looking at their life. And thank God for Don Fagan. Thank God for Don. When they say yacht rock, they don't mean you're on the yacht driving the yacht. You're as always, Don. You're the hired help. That you're the piano man that's been hired to play the peanut bar, buddy. So anyway, we love you very much. I hope it's all well. I'm sorry about the loss of his wife recently, and Anyway, that's my Steely Dan top 20. And of course, Walter, please leave your guys' list below if you would. Let me know what your top Steely Dan songs are. People feel really emotional with this. There are a lot of people even back here at home that really love Steely Dan. So let me know what your favorite Steely Dan stuff is. Any comments you have about our list? Any comments about anything? We love you guys. Please hit the like button. Just keep hitting it. Hit it, hit it, and hit it, and hit it, and hit it. Like a boxing. If you could hit it multiple times, and you could do the Michael Tyson boxing on it. We're going to start to do things, and we're kind of a little bit ahead with this stuff now. So by the time maybe some of this stuff is airs, it might not be on here, but we're really starting to gang up here and move on the music. Just as an update, anybody's paying attention, the record, we do have it mastered back, but we did get it back from Greg Lukens from Alexandria, Virginia. And it sounds great. Sounds really good. And so we'll be releasing a little bit of that at a time. Well, thank you guys always for tuning in here. We thank you very much. We love you very much. And please remember to subscribe, leave your comments as we said, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you, man.